All right. Jason Kelce famously said a number of years ago, hungry dogs run faster. Phils don't look to me to be very hungry right now. But it's early in the morning. It's probably breakfast time for Jason Kelce. Maybe he's hungry right now.
I am very hungry. Yeah.
From Garage Beer. We know and we love him, Mr. How are you, Jason?
I'm doing great. How you doing, Joe?
How you been, man?
I mean, listen, I just had a baby. Life is good. Yeah.
Congratulations.
I slept very little, and I feel like even wrong saying that, knowing what Kylie dealt with last night. So I'll stop complaining here. But it was. It's a newborn. She's beautiful. Family's great. We're Easter weekend down to the shore doing Easter egg hunts and all that stuff. Almost watched the Phillies. Just talking about the Phillies blowing 11-4 lead over the weekend. But other than that. It was an outstanding day. Yeah.
How are the older siblings taking to the new baby girl? Is everyone fitting in well?
Yeah, they're all. I mean, the two oldest ones, oldest like 5 and 4, are Wyatt and Ellie. They are fantastic with the new one. The one that's really struggling is Benny, who's 2 years old, and she really still wants to be attached to mom, but mom doesn't have the ability to do that. She has another human literally attached to her. And for me, it's selfishly awesome because Benny's like just over 2 years old, at such an adorable age. So this has happened with each one of my kids where when the new one's born, it's dad's job to kind of take the one that needs the comforting still. And it's been a lot of fun selfishly for me to be with Bennett while Kylie's been really hunkered down with
Sure.
him.
Well, that's also the age where Benny can run and get up every flight of steps and down every flight of steps, and everything has to be baby proof.
Yeah, she's still kind of terrible at all of it. But
so you have to be one step in front or behind her for every step that she takes. So this is
you can never leave her alone,
but it's also exhausting.
It's the most exhausting age from that perspective.
For sure, you can't just like let her go do whatever she wants to do.
Exactly.
Her,
That's not
even for 5 minutes or like 2 minutes.
Not even for 1 second.
But there's also this one of the beautiful things about kids is like they're experience everything, like all these things you take for granted on a daily basis. They're like, wow, look at that flower. I'm like, I've looked at that flower for 10 years and never freaking noticed this flower. And she's just starting to be able to articulate all these things that she's been thinking, and it's a lot of fun.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Jason Kelce with us here for about the next hour. You can weigh in 215-592-9494. So the draft's tomorrow. How close have you followed this draft lead up, Jason? Obviously, you've been busy, to say the least, with the family. Are you on top of who you like? Do you have a feel for that?
I'm on top of some of the offensive line prospects for sure, and I'm watching some of those guys. And I'm in talks still with, I still keep in touch with Stout and people within the building. I did not watch a lot of college football this season. I keep in touch with kind of the coverage leading up to it. So everything everybody else is seeing, guys that I think are really talented and great experts at evaluating these guys. I like to listen to what they say. But at the same time, I try not to get too caught up with the pre-draft stuff because, as everybody knows, what happens and what is said before the draft is way different than what happens after. I really love the moment these guys are picked, when they get in the building, and you really get to start to see who they are, how they interact, what motivates them. Because that's really ultimately what culminates to seeing which guys pan out.
Yeah. Interesting tweet, John. I saw a tweet from Zach Berman a couple days ago. And I want to present this one, everyone listening, because I thought this was a great point that we really haven't examined much. So Berman a couple days ago tweeted, and we're going to get to the Cam Jurgens thing. I know, Jason, you're super psyched about Cam getting that deal. So listen to this Berman tweet a few days ago. He said, "What can the Cam Jurgens story tell you about the Eagles draft plans?" ? And he goes, "Something I harp on every year. Don't look at this year's needs. The Eagles don't want to use the draft to find their starters this year. Project their 2026 and 2027 needs. It's the way they've approached the draft for much of Howie Roseman's time as GM, especially since 2016. John, we've talked a lot this year about they need an edge rusher, they need a safety, they need a D tackle, or at least they could certainly use one. But what Zach Berman's saying is maybe expand your mind.
Yeah.
Because...
don't think... Everyone needs to stop thinking that rookies can come in and play. because last year is such an outlier. Last year, us having our top 2 rookies come in and be studs and be starters, that is so weird. That is crazy outside the box. That never happens. And if it does, it's like out of need, and they stink, and they're losing games for you as often as they're making plays. We got, man, so fortunate, and it's just wonderful having that level of excellence and nailing it in the draft. But these picks as players, you look at these kids who come in, and you're like, oh man, this kid can't even look at his hands when he's trying to catch. Like, what is he doing? Like, why?
Veteran John Ritchie here.
Is his technique as it is?
Yeah.
Like, seriously, every single one of them, and you're rolling your eyes, and they are works in progress, and you can't imagine that guy is ever going to be able to do what he's supposed to do at that position.
But the irony is
that year.
Yeah, but both you guys, ironically, and not first or second round picks, both of you started as rookies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, but to John's point, that often doesn't happen, especially when you get later in the draft.
And I was told repeatedly by every coach on my team that for every rookie that you start, you lose a game. I can't tell you how many times I heard that adage, hey, this is the truth, rookie. Every rookie you start, you're going to lose. There's the loss. Then the next week, there's the loss. Thanks a lot, rookie.
Yeah, well.
So, I mean, out of necessity in my case, and I don't know what the situation was for.
It was similar. I mean, I was drafted into the perfect situation. I mean, Howard Mudd had just been brought in. He wanted a more athletic center. We had Jamal Jackson, who was coming back off of injury, who was not the style center that he wanted. So I had a leg up. It was very clear from early on that they wanted me to start, and by they, I mean Howard mostly. And I got every opportunity to take that position. And I played really well, but I was still, looking back, it's so funny watching old tape of yourself as you get older in the league, and you're like, what was I doing? Why was I doing that? Like, it's awful technique. Like, I was getting away with it because I was younger and stronger maybe, but anyways, there's a ton for these rookies to learn and get better at. And especially when you have the amount of veterans that the Eagles have had for years and still have over there. Like Lane Johnson, whatever guy's going to be coming, he's going to be learning from one of the best tackles to ever play the game.
Right.
And usually, top 15 pick, those guys are expected to play right away, typically. But outside of that, most of these guys should not start. And if they are starting, usually that's a position of need or some type of reason that you don't want to be the
Or
case.
a really bad team.
Yeah.
I mean, the bottom line is a guy that gets picked, let's put it this way, 33rd pick has a better chance to start than the 32nd pick. 33rd pick is a horrible team. It's the first pick in the second round. 32nd pick is the best team in football.
Super Bowl team, You
know what I mean?
So were you mad when you were drafted? Were you?
What kind of question is that?
Which outweighed?
Seltzer, your dream came true. Were you mad?
There's a lot of guys that they dropped.
Where you were drafted,
that's true.
Did that tick you off? And then were you then like? How did the opportunity of being able to play right away? How did that factor in? Did you?
I didn't know that. I didn't know that it was going to be that that opportunity was going to be there until early in training camp, when I was kind of told, like, hey, like, do you want to play this year? We like what we see so far.
Wow.
Get
all the way till
playbook.
Training camp.
We didn't have, so I came in the lockout year. We had no OTAs.
Yep.
No off-season program. My first day getting the playbook was 2 days before training camp started.
That's wild.
That is wild.
And you started
as a center.
As a rookie.
That also means Jason was a dream teamer
right away.
It was. That was a very fun year to be an Eagle. Complete chaos.
More fun for you probably than for us.
I mean, I'm playing with all these like living legends.
You are.
Like,
No,
you're a young
right.
player.
You're right.
It's mind blowing enough that I'm snapping the ball to Michael Vick.
Yeah.
And then Mike goes out and in comes Vince Young. And I'm like,
awesome.
what the heck is happening? It was incredible. I played with a lot of just like
That's
really
good, man.
Wow.
Huge name players, and like it was a lot of talk in the town. This is back when we were at Lehigh.
Yep.
So many fans came to the practice. I remember just like, there were more fans at the practice than were at college games of mine at times. And it was a very eye-opening experience going straight to training
Sure.
camp with the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, I'm sure. All right, let's get some calls in here.
Air conditioning.
With Jason. Well, yeah, that's a whole nother matter. All right, with Jason here, phone calls 215-592-9494. Obviously, not good with the Phils, guys. I mean, it's not good. And if they don't get their act together, the manager's going to get fired. And I don't think he's even close to the primary culprit. But these guys aren't playing well at all. Jordan right now. Jordan, good morning.
Morning show. Good morning, Philadelphia. How are we today?
I mean,
great.
Pretty good. Got a
Except for
draft
the Phillies,
tomorrow.
right?
We got except for the Phillies. That's right.
Jason, it's an honor to be on with you. And I just want to say, hey, Philly, respect this man. He's really kind with his time when he's out in public. Nothing I hate more than Kelce being harassed. Happened at my shore town a couple summers ago in Margate. Come on back to Ventnor and Margate, Jason. We're going to take care of you. But please, guys, respect this man. He's a treasure for us.
There you go.
I appreciate it. Everybody is awesome. I get this is part of the path I chose, being out in the public or whatnot.
Yeah.
But listen, you get to make people's days, especially kids coming up to you, and that Margate situation was unfortunate. But it's not going to keep me from going to Stephen Cookies. That's for dang.
There you go.
Oh, man. Stephen Cookies, baby.
There's a good stretch there. Tomatoes and
Oh my God.
I'm a big fan of that zone right there.
Yeah.
Big fan.
The duck at Stephen Cookies has got to be
The duck?
the
I haven't
best
had the
thing
duck
ever.
yet. Okay.
Oh, definitely get the duck with the blueberry sauce and the corn souffle. It's one of the best dishes ever.
Good to know. I'll be all blueberried. That and then the blueberry pie.
Speaking of food real quick, I'm actually flying to Copenhagen today. Richie, you complimented me on being a dad yesterday. So my older son plays Hendrix. My younger son loves fine dining. We're going to Noma in Copenhagen, and he doesn't know about it. I'm picking him up from school
Wow.
today.
So that's the best restaurant in the world. Or at least ranked as the best restaurant in the world.
It has been several times. They retire it like you get in the Hall of Fame. So
Yeah.
I can't wait to surprise them with that. But I was in Copenhagen a couple of years ago, up very late night after a meal, listening to Lorenzen throw a no-hitter.
Wow.
So potentially I will go back to Copenhagen, and it ain't going to be Aaron Nola throwing a no-hitter, but let's see. Let's see who we can pull through.
Please.
A couple of things from the Phillies game last night. Yesterday I moaned and complained about situational hitting. Oh, my God. It's almost like I willed them to be horrible in those situations. But, three things I picked up on specifically. Romano is making a noise like he's hitting a tennis ball in a serve when he throws. And I don't know if the sound was particularly good, but I don't know a lot of pitchers who make that grunt when they throw.
Nola was making a noise the other night, too.
I wonder if the mic, not the mic, what do you call it? The boom mic? What do you call that?
It's been weird. The first game they had all those. I think there's something going on with the mics at Citi Field.
They're picking up more.
Yeah, because I'm with you. You don't hear that often, but I'm sure pitchers make more noise than we hear.
And my point, Jordan,
fans
is
of the grunt. You're activating your core if you're grunting. That's a good
Monica
sign.
Seles. Do you remember her?
I don't.
Tennis.
I mean, that's pretty much any female tennis player.
No,
grunting,
but she
right?
was.
It was like another level.
Oh,
She was. It was
10
blood
different levels.
curdling. Blood curdling.
that
Every
was a good
hit.
grunt.
it was unbelievable.
Good grunt.
Yeah.
It was like
Good grunt.
it should have exhausted her. That level of screaming.
Oh, it was
that amount of time.
Every time.
That was an impression. I'll cut that audio.
Second point, we keep talking about Kerkering being a high leverage guy.
Man.
I'm not seeing it.
No.
He's letting the
What is
inherited
going
runners
on with him?
and I like this kid. He's got a lot of potential, but he just seems very deer in headlights now when he comes on with runners that he's inherited.
Did it ever feel? We've been told for a long time now that Kerkering, he's been inserted in these high leverage spots for a long time. It doesn't feel like he's ever made good on the promise.
Well, he did last
that
year.
was expected.
Well, last year
Not
was the ERA.
like I want.
He was like a mid-2 ERA last year. I mean,
I guess it just hasn't felt as dominant as I was told that the goods were going to be.
Yeah, he's been very disappointing this season.
I don't understand why. I don't understand because I can see his stuff breaks hard. I can see when he wants to, get behind it, he's going to throw 98.
you know what he's doing, John? He's pulling with Sir Anthony. He's not living up to what you thought he'd be. And ultimately, they dumped Sir Anthony because of that.
But
Sure.
they kept him
My wife said the
around
same
for
thing
about
to me.
5 years.
Yeah.
While wondering.
Jordan, give me a notable breakthrough. You can win the Phillies tickets.
When Janet Jackson's right nipple broke through her dress.
Yes! What a great answer.
That is outrageous. So I write these things down. Janet
Literal
Jackson
interpretation.
and nipple. All right, fair enough. By the way, it's 94 WIP HD1 Philadelphia as we broadcast today from the Tasty Cake Studio. We got Jason with us. We may not have Christopher Sanchez with us later this season if he's injured. I know James is extremely concerned about it. Let's listen to Rob Thompson after the game last night. If you missed it, Chris Sanchez taken out after 2 innings. Obviously, he's been one of their 2 best starters this year. Not as sharp early last night. Not a disaster, but not to his same level. They even talked after the game, and JT talked. You could tell in the bullpen session before the game, he just didn't seem quite the same. But Sanchez didn't say anything to Rob Thompson before the game. 2 innings in, Rob Thompson noticed something, went over to him. Listen to this exchange.
It's low forearm tightness. Saw the doc. Not expecting any structural damage. We'll reevaluate. We'll know in the next couple of days.
When did you first start complaining of it?
The first I heard of it was after the second inning. I went down and I talked to him and said, "How you doing?" And he said, usually he goes, "Oh, I'm good." Or I said, "Are you all right?" And usually he says, Yeah, I'm good." And this time he just nodded. I said, "Tell me what's going on." And he said, "I'm just my arm's a little bit tight." I said, "Okay, that's it. We're done."
Will he go for an MRI tomorrow?
We'll know more tomorrow.
Okay, that's it. We're done. So obviously Topper pulled it quick when he heard that news. James, I know you're particularly freaked out on this one.
Yeah, forearm tightness and Tommy John go together. You know, it is a harbinger. Now, again, it doesn't mean it's a lock. He's going to get Tommy John, but usually, or a fair amount of time, you know, when you see it forearm injury as the injury preceding it, a lot of times Tommy John surgery follows it. It's a bad sign.
That would be a disaster. I mean, because this team needs excellent starting pitching because the bullpen's clearly not going to be good. It's just not. And then the lineup can be better, but I think for the most part they are what they are, meaning they're going to be inconsistent. This team requires excellent starting pitching to make the playoffs in a loaded National League. This would be an enormous setback. We'll see. We'll find out. 215-592-9494. You know, Jason, all the times we've had you in here, and I've heard you speak publicly, obviously, for over a decade.
Yeah.
I feel like we know so much, but I don't remember hearing this. Draft day experience for you.
Yeah.
Because all these kids tomorrow, not just the guys that get taken by the Eagles, but all these, a couple hundred guys, the next couple of days, it's, a dream's going to come true. What was that day? And those 2 days back then?
It was 3 days.
Back then?
I believe.
Okay.
I think it was 3 days at that point.
I think it was 2, but what was it like for you? I mean,
so I knew I wasn't going to be a first round guy, and I knew I wasn't likely going to be a second or third round guy. So my family and everybody, we designed something for the third day, 4 through 7, and I didn't know where it was going to happen there or if it was going to happen. But I had been told there was a good chance I was going to go in the 5th, 6th round, so that's what I was expecting.
So you had your agent already, or
had my agent already? Yep, agent is already secured, but he's not there on draft day. We stayed in Cincinnati. We went bowling because I didn't want to watch the draft. I felt like that would have been like awful. Just kind of like try and sit after pick after pick after
even
pick.
Day 3.
Even day 3.
So you were not watching it as it happened.
I was not watching it, and we start bowling at the start of the day, and we finish bowling, and I still haven't been drafted, so that's not good. It's like, all right, now what do we do? So I went back to the house, and I'm just in my room. Everybody's out in the living room. A lot of my teammates in college, Travis, my parents, my uncle, and my phone gets I see. I'm kind of falling on my phone at this point. I'm like, man, I might not get drafted. I don't really know what's happening. The Chiefs had selected. They were one of the teams that was really interested. They picked Rodney Hudson early, so I'm like, they're probably out on the center now. I only took other 2 top 30 visits were the Eagles and the Rams. So I'm like, maybe I'm going to be undrafted. But I saw the Eagles had 2 picks coming up back to back, and I'm like, all right, maybe there's a chance that this happens here. And sure enough, I get a call from a 215 number. It's Andy Reid. And he's been any accidents, he's been any car crashes, and my heart's going a million miles an hour. And I'm like, no, I'm good. He's like, okay, you're healthy, everything's fine. And I was like, yeah, everything's great. And he says, all right, here's how it's going to work. We're going to draft you with this next pick. I'm going to hand the phone to our general manager, Howie Roseman. Then I'm going to hand the phone to our offensive coordinator, Marty Morningwig. Then I'm going to hand the phone to our offensive line coach, Howard Mudd. And I was like, all right, sounds good. And he's like, all right, you got that? I'm like, I got that. And he's like, all right, what did I just say? And I'm like, I have no idea. And right away, he's like, you're going to be playing in front of 70,000 people in Philly. I need you to have better composure than this. Like, he's giving me crap already. So
wow.
It was awesome. My dad, at some point, you're still on the phone while the pick is happening out there. So you hear people cheering. And then my dad comes in and he's crying. And it's just, like you said, you're anxious and you're frustrated with watching how the day goes, and you want to be picked higher. You think you're better than what's being you're given credit for. But the moment they call your name, for me at least, it's just such an unbelievable experience. Your whole life you've worked for it. You've played this game. All of your friends and family are there, at least I think if you do it right. And it's just an awesome, awesome moment.
That's
How
amazing.
much did you know about Philadelphia? I mean, being one state over.
I really didn't know anything. I had been for a visit. I think we played a lacrosse tournament here or something like that in high school.
Wow.
So I remember we did the Liberty Bell, ate a cheesesteak from Geno's or Pat's.
Yeah.
And that was my extent, right? I had no idea what I was in store for. My agent told me right away, he's like, you're going to fit in. This is a town that loves offensive linemen. They love football. This is going to be an awesome fit for you, Jason. So I'm like, all right, if you say so, Jason.
Nailed it.
Yeah. It was really just it was an awesome moment. It really was. And I think for everybody, it's just how many other professions do you find out you're gonna get your job like that?
It's so weird.
It's like you have no idea if it's gonna happen, when it's gonna happen, especially if you're a later on guy. And it's just this incredible feeling of I'm officially an NFL player.
Yeah. I think doctors get assigned where they're
residencies,
headed, right?
Yes, for residencies. But even then, it's not like that.
Right.
You apply for 4 things or 5 things, and then you get ranked, and then you find out well before. This is hey, get on a plane. You're coming to Philly.
Yeah, we don't have the option to say, unless you're Eli Manning, you to say, I'm not going to go.
And there's more choice with you still choose which residency you go to.
That's
Here,
wild,
it's
man.
you're going wherever they tell you you're going.
All right, let's get some calls in. Jason in studio with us for about an hour. Let's talk to Rick in Easton right now. Good morning, Rick.
Joe, it's amazing how you just hear about a grunt and you come up with Monica Seles. That's how your brain works. It's incredible. Think about it.
Well, it was her or Jenna Jameson, and I went with Monica.
Oh, my God.
By the way,
oh, man.
Good decision.
Yeah, sure.
Just saying.
So, Jason, it's once again, it's an honor because last time I spoke to you, I didn't get a chance to say this, and you're going to be a Hall of Famer. And in Philadelphia, we have probably the fewest amount of Hall of Famers out of all the cities that have 4 major sports, and that is probably going to be your next greatest milestone that you're going to experience, and we're all proud and happy for you, my friend.
Thank you very much, Rick. I appreciate it.
So, the Phillies. Got to go from Jason Kelce to the Phillies. Wow.
There you go. That's right.
So, why would opposing pitchers throw anything right now near the strike zone?
It's a great point. We're back to seeing what we saw versus the Mets last year. And look, to their credit, they had improved on that in the first 2.5, 3 weeks. But there's been a reversion, and it's really Rick, I said it earlier, and I'll say it again. The Phillies players, most of them, are good enough to be above average, but not good enough to be truly great. Not good enough to be truly impactful.
Do you remember a couple weeks ago I said, be careful how you throw that word great around?
I know. Listen.
The Phillies right now. But don't beat yourself up because...
Well, I am a little bit. I mean, listen, I thought they were going to be great. I said it probably 100 times back in February and March. And it looks like I was wrong. Now, we'll see. I mean, I am struck, Rick, by the fact that, 3 years ago and 2 years ago, the Phillies started off terrible and became a really, really good, playoff team. Obviously, the Mets last year pulled a similar thing. I am particularly struck from a recency standpoint with the Eagles, turning in early October as a 2-2 team. And I would say even thereafter, still struggling to an extent, even though they were winning games, not playing nearly like they did versus Washington and KC to end the season. So growth within a season can happen. But I think after so many seasons of seeing this collection of guys, and I'm primarily talking about Trey and Castellanos and Bohm, at a certain point, it's like, man, I guess this is just what they are. So that is concerning.
And what's really frustrating is you look at the Mets lineup from top to bottom. At least they're competing on almost every pitch. It seems like even when the Phillies go up 3-0 counts, that they get wheeled back in and then strike out. And I know you don't want to beat up Harper, but Harper has been coming up small, in big situations like Turner is. It's almost like, here's a scary thought, it's almost like as Rojas seems to be finding himself, I almost want to put Rojas in the number 2 slot and let Trey Turner figure it out now, like they tried to do with Bohm. There's a lot of questions.
That's where we're at.
It's crazy.
The numbers say
I'd
you
rather
might
have
be right.
Johan Rojas at the plate than Trey Turner.
The Mets bat Soto 2, the Phillies bat Rojas 2. All right. All right, Rick, I need an answer, pal. Give me a great breakthrough performance.
If you saw a great little sequel, not sequel, it was like a documentary, actually, kind of, sort of. It was called The Offer. Al Rudy, the producer, wanted Al Pacino, and Francis Coppola did not. And in 1972, what a breakout for The Godfather with Al Pacino.
Wonderful answer, Rick. Fantastic phone call. 215-592-9494.